So we're back at Oktibbeha County Lake in Starkville, Mississippi, just outside of Starkville, Mississippi, about 7 miles. You can get on Highway 82 and you can follow the 4-lane out about 7 miles. And if you'll kind of zoom the map out just a little bit, you'll be able to see this lake right here. You can't hardly miss it. But we're at the end of March here now. I believe this was this filmed today, March the 24th. I happen to have to come over here to Starkville. I got my CDL DOT physical done this morning, and all of our driver's license places are closed down. So the only places that are open to do CDL stuff or any kind of license stuff with CDLs are the highway patrol offices. So our closest one is here in Starkville. So when I got my health card attached to my license. Rode on over here and got the drone out and flew it for a while. So as you can see, they're still pumping water out here. They do have siphons in the lake also. None of the siphons are currently running right now at all. I have a lot of questions, just like a lot of y'all have asked in the comments about different things, and why they're doing this and why they're doing that. And I have those same questions also. And they could actually drain this lake with siphons if they wanted to. But they've been pumping water out of here with these pumps. They got 6 of them going. They've been running 24/7 since back in, I believe it's about mid-January or so. So there is no telling what this is costing per day to run these pumps and do this right here. I know a lot of people are probably saying, what's the big deal? It's a lake dam or anything like that. There's about 250 people that live below this dam, and there's 130 households that are below this dam also. And if you want to see what a dam can do when it breaches, look up the big B-I-G Bay, B-A-Y, Lake Dam in Lumber, like a lumber yard, Lumberton, Mississippi. And check out what that thing did in 2004. The Big Bay Lake was about a 1,000-acre lake. This lake right here is about a 500-acre lake. It wiped out 100 and something homes when it busted. It had basically been leaking. The dam had been leaking since it was built. And it never did do anything, and it finally blowed out one day. And there's some videos on YouTube of it showing the devastation of what it did. And they ended up building that lake back, that dam back down there, and it's back up. They built it back better than it was. So we're coming up. You can see right here on the left right there, the silt fence right there where that slid off before in the past. And then here's the problem area right here that we're coming up on now, where the blue tarp is right there. And we're going to get a real close-up view of the spillway riser where it's sticking up here in a minute. I'm going to talk about that. But this dam, you can see it where it slid off there. It's no good. There's a large section of this dam that evidently back when it was built in the 60s, it just was not built right. I would imagine they probably pushed the fill for this dam probably out of that lake bed over there to the right. And it just wasn't built wide enough like what it needed to be done. And so like I said earlier, there's a lot of questions, if to take it back, just do away with the dam, build it back, or anything like that. I'm just flying on down. This dam is over 4,000 feet long too, so it's a pretty long dam. But I don't think that lake is that deep. But there's a guy that lives over there that's been quoted in the paper a good bit. And this article here came from back in February the 25th. His name's George Seals, S-I-L-L-S. He's a retired dam engineer from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And he's quoted here. He says, He said he asked at the county hearing why the county did not cut off the valve any sooner. They've known for years that the dam's not safe, Seal said. In July, I was out there and there was hardly any water in it. Why didn't they cut the riser off then? Why wait until the alligators are nipping at the boat's rear end? And I mean, he's right. Why jeopardize all these people down below that dam down there and their entire livelihood and everything that they've worked for their entire lives to have to deal with something like this right here and worry with something like this? Now, the dam is currently, we're about to get back where you can see this riser. I think the Corps of Engineers has done gotten involved in it now, and so I think they're kind of battling back and forth, or the county about, they were talking about replacing the whole dam for like $8 million or something like that, but Mr. George, he says the whole dam don't need to be replaced, and it probably don't. And so it could probably be done a lot cheaper than $8 million to get it fixed back up. But, the Corps of Engineers, they know a lot more about water than what the county does over there, the supervisors and stuff like that. All right, so here's a riser. Look at all the broken up concrete around that thing. My question is, why haven't they munched some of that, brought an excavator in there with a muncher on it, and brought that riser down a little bit, bring it down a foot, this week, a week or 2 weeks later, come back, bring that riser down another foot or 2. The creek on the other side of this thing will flow a lot more water than what they're putting in it. They could get that riser down, and that concrete's all broken up. There's no telling what that dirt is doing or has done around that riser right there. And if they could get that riser down, it would keep that water at that level. This is where the water runs out right there from the riser. You can see coming into view was coming out from the pumps over on the left, but you can see it. That creek right there will carry a lot more water than what's flowing down it. So you probably ask why I'm doing a voiceover on this one right here. Is because the wind was blowing so bad. If I would have captured the audio from the controller, all you would have heard was wind noise. So I opted not to do that. So you can see where the water's coming out from the riser right there. I mean, there's not a lot that's discharging right there. I mean, there's plenty of room for more flow right there. A lot more room for more flow. Toward the end of this video, I'll fly the drone out over the lake where you can kind of see the magnitude of it. I'm not sure what the level is in the lake right now. But, they talked about possibly just, doing away with it completely and, not worrying about it. If the soil's not that good right here in this area, that may be something that they need to explore and really think hard about. But I would love to see the county records on the money that's spent on them pumps right there, between the rental fees and the upkeep on them, and then just the fuel that is being burnt through those things in a 24-hour time period. Like I said, there is no telling what that tab is right there. So you can't, this is a county road that runs across the top of this dam. You can see that's the emergency spillway right there that the pumps are sitting on top of. And I don't guess they can keep those siphons going right there or something. I don't know. But the dam stuff with dams and all that is not anything that I ever want to deal with or be involved with or anything. A dam is like having an infant that will never grow up. You have got to stay on top of that thing year-round to make sure it stays up and keep it up. Keep the trees off of it and all that stuff, because trees in a dam is a big no-no. You can see all the suck lines going down in the water down there. But it bad timing on all this stuff. We got this virus that's running around now, and all this, and you know, it just all boils down to all the people that live down there below that dam down there. And I've seen some people make some really bad comments talking about how stupid some of the people are or anything like that. And I'm going to tell you, some of these people have owned that land and have been down there below that dam before that dam was ever thought about being born and built. And so, you know, I don't think that's very fair to say that about somebody, even with that, even if they had just moved down there. I mean, you know, the dam has had problems for 20 years or so now, however long it's been, and it should have done been fixed before now, before things have done kind of got out of hand. But that's my opinion on it. So we're going to kind of fly out. I kind of got a little bit brave here. I had the drone up in there for about a little over 20 minutes tops, and wind was probably gusting about 20 miles an hour. But the Mavic, it's a beast of a drone, and so I went ahead and I sent that thing way on up in there, all the way up to about 370 feet, and got on up there. So filmed all this, and then I went back to Columbus and I filmed 2 more videos in Columbus there while I was there. And I had some time. It was some one is of the concrete crusher running. Did a real good video of that. And then I also they were actually unloading scrap iron with that big electric crane that's on the side of the river with a monster orange peel grapple. And so I actually was on one side of the river and they were on the other, and I sent the drone up and I filmed him and I captured audio on it. I think it's going to be okay. I don't think the wind was too bad because I was up in the trees where I flew out from. And I think they had enough of the wind blocked off of me. So it's going to be a pretty nice video when I do it up. But so here's where I go on up in there. You can tell they've got the water level down. You see that pier right there? See us out of the water a good bit. And all this to the right of the screen, normally all of that is in water right there too. So they've got the water down, and you can look at the top left of the screen. You can see all that. But where all that's normally in water, the dam is just a giant coffee filter right now, basically. I think the water's just kind of weeping through it. Because if you'll go back to the first video and you'll watch as I'm flying right down the roadway, you can see all the water in the tree line over there where it's probably coming out of the dam. I wouldn't want to be that house right there. That'd be a little too close for comfort for me right there, I can tell you. So it gives you a pretty good idea right here where I sent her on up. Got it on up there. The lake, people's ask about the lake, what it's used for. It's just a recreation lake. It's no power being generated there, nothing. It's just a recreation lake, and I'm sure there's people who fish there and stuff, but I'm not sure how, because we got our waterway, our river is not that far from right here, so I imagine most people probably go to the river, but I'm sure this is probably used a good bit right here too during the, like this. But each time I've been over and I've flown, I have not seen anybody fishing except for one guy on the bank right there. And they may have it closed. The boat ramp right there, I could have backed the boat in. There wasn't no sign there or anything saying it was closed. So we're going to fly. What I'm doing now is I'm going to fly out east of the dam, and then I'm going to spin the drone around. I'm going to back it on up where you can see it. Yeah, I believe, looking at it right here, I believe they've got that water down a good bit more than what it was, which is actually pretty impressive with the amount of rain we had in February, because we had, I over 23 inches of rain in February. And that was tough to kind of stomach right there. Of course, on a day like today with the wind blowing, you lose a good bit in evaporation just from the sun picking it up and then the wind blowing it. So we're running around. I had reached out to Mr. George Seals via Messenger on Facebook, but I'm sure it's in his message request and he probably hadn't seen it. But I would love to get with him over there and just walk that dam with him and interview him and get his thoughts on it, since he is an engineer and knows all about that stuff. It'd be really interesting just to talk to him and everything. So I left him my information. Maybe he'll see it one of these days and he'll reach out to me. I don't know, but I think we're coming pretty close toward the end of this thing. And I appreciate y'all hanging in and watching this thing for this update. We'll catch y'all later. Later, taters.